Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adipatya Sendramawan. My NPM is 20020100069. Passage 1. The United States does not have a national university, but the idea has been around for quite some time. George Washington first recommended the idea to Congress. He even selected an actual site in Washington, D.C., and then left an endowment for the proposed national university in his will. During the century following the Revolution, the idea of a national university continued to receive the support of various U.S. presidents and philanthropists. Andrew Carnegie pursued the cause and beginning of the present century. Although the original idea has not been yet acted upon, it continues to be proposed in bills before Congress. Number 1. According to the passage, the National University of United States A have been around for a while. 2. Look at the word he in the passage. Click on the word or phrase that he refers to. It refers to George Washington, I think. Number 3, the passage indicates that George Washington did not do which of the following? C. He left money in his will for a national university. 4. Which of the following is not mentioned in the passage about Andrew Carnegie? He was active in early 20th century. D. The pronoun it in line 7 refers to A. The cause. Passage 2. The laboratory pits located in Hancock Park in the Los Angeles area have proven to be an extremely fertile source of Ice Age fossils. Apparently, during the period of the Ice Age, the tar pits were covered by shallow pools of water. When animals came in there to drink, they caught in the sticky tar and perished. The tar not only trapped the animals, leading to their death, but it also served as a remarkably effective preservant, allowing near-perfect skeletons to remain hidden in the present era. In 1906, the remains of huge prehistoric bear discovered in tar pits alerted archaeologists to the potential treasure lying within the tar. Since then, thousands of well-preserved skeletons have been uncovered, including the skeletons of camel, horses, wolves, tigers, sloths, and dinosaurs. 6. Which of the following is not true about the La Brea tar pits? D. They are located under a swimming pool. 7. The pronoun they in line 3 refers to animals. D. 8. Click on the drawing that shows how the Ice Age animals mentioned in the passage died at the La Brea tar pits. I think it's B. 9. Look at the word in paragraph 1. Click on the word or phrases that it refers to. La Brea tar pits. Number 10. When did archaeologists become aware of the possible value of the contents of the tar pits? C. Early in the 20th century. 11. Which of the following is not mentioned as an example of skeleton found in the tar pit? D. Snakes. Next. When the President of the United States wants to get away from the hectic pace in Washington, D.C., Camp David is the place to go. Camp David in a wood wooded mountain area about 70 miles Washington, D.C., is where the president goes to find solitude. It consists of living space for the president, the first family, and the presidential staff, as well as sporting and recreational facilities. Camp David was established by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1942. He found the site particularly appealing in that its mountain air provided relief from the summer heat of Washington, and its remote location offered a more relaxing environment than could be achieved in the capital city. When the Roosevelt first established the retreat, he called it Shangri-La, which evoked the blissful mountain kingdom in James Hilton's novel Last Horizon. Later, President Dwight David Eisenhower renamed the location Camp David after his grandson David Eisenhower. Camp David has been used for a number of significant meetings. In 1943, during the World War II, President Roosevelt met there with Great Britain's Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. In 1959, at the height of Cold War, President Eisenhower met there with Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. In 1978, President Jimmy Carter sponsored peace talks between Israel's Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egypt's President Anwar el-Sadat at the retreat at Camp David. Number 12. Which of the following not discussed about Camp David? B. Its cost. 13. Look at the word "it" in paragraph 1. Click on the word phrase that it refers to. The first family. The pronoun he in line 10 refers to Roosevelt. Roosevelt. Number 16. Which of the following is not true about President Eisenhower? A. He had a grandson named David. Khrushchev was in Camp David in 1959. C. Lincoln's now famous Gettysburg Address was not, on the occasion of its delivery, recognized as the masterpiece that it is today. Lincoln was not even the primary speaker at the ceremonies held at the height of the Civil War in 1963 to dedicate the battlefield at Gettysburg. The main speaker was orator Edward Everett, whose 2-hour speech was followed by Lincoln's shorter remarks. Lincoln began his small portion of the program with the words that today are immediately recognized by most Americans. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated the proposition that all men are created equal. At the time of the speech, little notice was given to what Lincoln had said, and Lincoln considered his appearance at the ceremonies rather unsuccessful. After his speech appeared in print, appreciation for his work began to grow, and today it is recognized as one of the all-time greatest speeches. Number 1. The main idea of this passage is that B. At the time of its delivery, the Gettysburg Address was truly appreciated as a masterpiece. Number 2. Which of the following is not true about the ceremonies at Gettysburg during the Civil War? B. Everett gave a 2-hour speech. Number 3. According to the passage, when Lincoln spoke at the Gettysburg ceremonies, B. He spoke for only a short period of time. 4. When did Lincoln Gettysburg Address to begin to receive public acclaim? D. After Lincoln received growing recognition. 5. Look at the word in the passage. Click on the word phrase that it refers to. Lincoln. Hay fever is a seasonal allergy to pollens. The term hay fever, however, is a less than adequate description since such an attack can be brought on by sources other than hay-producing grasses, and since an attack of this allergy does not incur fever, the cause of hay fever can quite varied. Hay fever is generally caused by airborne pollens, particularly ragweed pollen. The amount of pollen in the air is largely dependent on geographical location, weather, and season. In the eastern section of the United States, for example, there are generally 3 periods when pollen from various sources can cause intense hay fever. Suffering in the springtime, month of March and April, when pollen from trees is prevalent. In the summer months of June and July, when grass pollen fills the air, and at the end of August, when ragweed pollen is at its most concentrated level. What results from an attack hay fever is not a fever. Instead, a person with hay fever will suffer symptoms such as red and itching eyes, a swollen and runny nose, and repeated bouts of sneezing. Number 6. Which of the following would be a best title for the passage? C. Hay fever in eastern United States. 7. According to the passage, which of the following helps to explain why the term hay fever is somewhat of misnomer? A. A strong fever occurs after an attack. 8. Which of the following is not discussed in the passage as determining factor of amount of pollen in the air? B. Climate. Which of the following is not true about hay fever in the eastern United States? B. Pollen from trees cause hay fever suffering in spring. Click on the drawing that represents a potential cause of hay fever. A. Which of the following is not a symptoms of hay fever? A. A high fever. 12. Click on the paragraph that outlines how, when, and where hay fever develops. Passage 3. Theories about the movement of the continents have been evolved over time, and as the ability to conduct scientific study of the continents has improved. Thus, today's theory of plate tectonics, rather than contradicting its predecessor, had its roots in the older theory of continental drift. According to the theory of continental drift, the continents are not fixed in position, but instead move slowly across the surface of the earth, constantly changing in positions relative to one another. This theory was first proposed in the 18th century when mapmakers noticed how closely the continents of the earth fit together when they were matched up. It was suggested then that the present-day continents had once been one large continent that had broken up into pieces which drifted apart. Today, the modern theory of plate tectonics has developed from the theory of continental drift. The theory of plate tectonics suggests that the crust of the earth is divided into 6 large and many small. tectonic plates that drift on the lava that compose the inner core of the Earth. These plates consist of ocean floor and continents that quite probably began breaking up and moving relative to one another more than 200 million years ago. 13. The topic of the passage is B. The theory of plate tectonics. 14. The passage states that the theory of continental drift developed as a result of D. The fit of the Earth's plated. Look at the word number 15. Look at the word they in paragraph 2. Click on the word phrase that they refers to. The tectonics. 17. According to the passage, what constitutes as a tectonic plate? C. The inner core of the Earth. Number 18. Which of the following best describes the organization of the passage? C. A theory followed by an example. 19. Click on the paragraph that describes the earlier theory. The second paragraph. That's it for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.